Have you ever been in an online virtual meeting and you found yourself completely lost with what people are talking about, or the presenter is talking about something and it kind of feels like they're teaching you how to suck eggs? Either way, the result is probably going to be the same. You'll switch off and start daydreaming. And the same thing can happen to students in an online classroom. So today we're going to be looking at chunking and categorising. One of the big deficits of virtual classroom is that we can lose up to 1/3 of our normal time that we would in a face-to-face class because of things like technical issues or going over instructions again and again, and also that checking in with each person, it takes a lot longer. Teachers can often feel pressured to deliver such a huge amount of content in a really short time frame, and it can be pretty overwhelming. Have you ever heard the expression, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time? Well, that's exactly how we need to think about preparing our lessons for a virtual classroom, one bite at a time in bite-sized chunks. We know from neuroscience that the brain only has this focus for about 10 or 15 minutes before it starts waning. So it makes sense to put our content and our lessons into smaller bite-sized chunks. Going one step further, not only do we need to chunk our lesson, but we need to make sure that we label it and communicate it to students in a way that they can understand the little bite-sized bits. This is all part of making sure that everything that we do in a virtual classroom is amplified and signposted. Amplifying and signposting is a key strategy in a virtual classroom to make sure that we're not wasting more time having to go over instructions again and again, and it keeps everyone focused on the same path. To summarise, chunking our content into bite-sized bits, putting a label on it, and then communicating that to students helps students know where they're up to in this lesson. It also, and more importantly, helps them stay focused. It aids with learning retention and also can prevent boredom. And if you want to help students go that next level, encourage them to have a notebook with them. If they, at the very least, write down the headings or the labels that you've given to the content, they're going to be much more likely to remember and retain it because they're using all their learning faculties, their eyes, their ears, and their hands as they write notes. For me, once I've put my content into bite-sized chunks, what I want to then do is categorise it. So what I do is consider the content in these 3 categories. Category 1 is must-know content, but I know the students often have difficulty grasping it. Category 2 is must-know content, but the students grasp it without too much input. And then category 3, which is that nice-to-know information that students just need to be aware of. The reason I categorise content is I want to know where do I need to put the most attention, creativity and time into in my lesson. I've already mentioned that we lose about 1/3 of our time because of check-ins and going over things. Why would I waste even more time going over a category 3 topic that really is just a nice to know? I made those categories up to suit the style of delivery that I do. Depending on your industry area or the complexity of the content, you might need to make your own categories up with less or more or whatever suits. It doesn't matter. Use your expertise to do that. The key is that you'll identify areas of content that you need to invest more time, creativity in. You're going to have to think about, what can I do to help students grasp this content? What learning activities might I be able to use that help students understand and apply the knowledge? So by chunking my content and categorising it, I'm making sure that I'm focused, that I'm not wasting time, and I'm helping the students learn the things that matter. Okay, that's it from me. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Virtually the Teacher. Just so you know, I don't condone the harming or eating of elephants, and no elephants were harmed in the filming of this episode.